Did you know there are only 5 key areas that you need to work on your business to improve your profits? And today I'm going to work through those 5 areas and show you how you can increase your profits by 61%. So today I'm talking about the 5 ways to increase your profits. Now, you've possibly heard of this if you're familiar with ActionCOACH, but these 5 ways will make a big difference to your profits and how you're working on the business. Time is one of our most limited resources in the business, and making sure that you use your time to the most effect is really, really important. So what I want to show you are the 5 areas in your business to make sure that everything that you're doing gives you the best profits and the best outcome. So this method makes sure that you leverage all the different areas of your business to the greatest effect. So what we're talking about is breaking things down, working on them individually, so when you pull them back together, you get the best output. So talking about breaking these areas down, the first one I'm going to start with is the number of leads that you're getting into the business. And then we're looking at the conversion rate, how many of those leads that you are turning into customers. So let's put customers, slightly different colour. That's the number of customers you've got in the business. Then once we've got the customer in the business, we're going to look at, firstly, how much they're spending with you. So that's the average amount that they're spending each time. And then how often they come to you a year. So that's the average number of transactions each year. That gives you your overall revenue in the business. So that's your overall turnover. Finally, we're looking at your profit margin. How much of that's taken with cost and how much of that is actual profit. To give us, finally, the actual profit in your business. So the key number that we're all interested in. So if we start off with some example numbers here. So we'll start with a lead. So let's say in this example, you've got 4,000 leads coming into the business each year. And let's say, for example, you've got a 25% conversion rate. Now, if you've seen my videos on sales and conversion rate, to me that's a lower conversion rate. I'd be looking at something around about minimum of about 35% if most of your customers are getting 3 quotes. But anyway, there's some easy ways to work on the conversion rate. So in this example, we've got 1,000 customers per year. And let's say in this example, an average spend, each time they're spending £100 with you. And they come and see you twice a year. That gives you a revenue, overall revenue of £200,000. So nice little business that we've got going here. In this example, again, we're going to have a profit of 25%, nice and straightforward. Keep the maths easy for me. And then that gives us a profit of £50,000 overall. Now I'm going to look at this example. So I've picked out some of these in the blue and some in the red. My question for you is, why blue and why in red? Now, normally when I ask this in a seminar and a webinar, when people are able to respond to me, I get various answers coming back. But the reason is that the customers and the revenue and the profit are actually areas that we can't work on directly. It's the areas in blue that we're able to impact. So let's start with leads. If we're starting with leads, there's all sorts of different ways that we can work on lead generation. It does tend to be one of the most expensive areas to work on, so I would normally actually work on this last. But so let's say we're working on our leads and we wanted to increase our leads by just 10%. So in this example, we're going from 4,000 to 4,400. So this isn't a big increase. We're just looking for general 10% overall. So really, really small amount, just 10%. So conversion rate. Conversion rate doesn't go to 35%. We're not adding 10%, we're increasing it by 10%. So that goes to 27.5%. So just a small increase on conversion rate. And conversion rate's the type of thing you start measuring, it starts to increase. But we can look at various areas with your team. So we can be looking at things like scripts, asking the right questions, making sure that the customer is aware of what you can offer, but you're fully aware of what the customer's looking for. So conversion rate, all sorts of things that we can start to do to increase that by 10%. And once we start looking at conversion rate, we'd struggle to increase it by just 10%. We'd be increasing by a lot more than that. But in this example, so we've increased by 10%, by 10%, so we increase customers by 10%. No, it's a compound effect. So we're actually going to have more than 10% increase in our customers. So this is where it starts to get quite exciting. And then our average transaction per each time. There are various different ways that we can look at the average transaction value. One of the examples is to make sure that a customer is aware of everything that you can sell. So solicitors that we were working with, they made sure that they were asking every customer, when did they last review their will? Wills get outdated very, very quickly. Personal circumstances change, marriage, divorce changes, etc., etc. So they asked every single customer, when did you last review your will? And they increased their turnover by quite a bit, but just making sure they were asking a very simple question. Another one is something like a checklist at the till, making sure that everyone has got everything that they need. A brilliant example is the decorators. And next to the till it says, have you got your masking tape? Have you got your paintbrushes? Have you got the sugar soap? Those types of things. So people are actually like that service because it stops them going home finding out they've forgotten something and having to go back out again. So you're increasing your customer service, increasing your customer perception of you, but also helping your average transaction value as well. So again, we're going to increase this by 10%. So we're just going to £110 on an average transaction. And then how many times do they come to you a year? On this one, I'm a director of a garage as well, so we do car servicing, MOTs, repairs. On that one, we have a really, really good reminder system. So a month before your MOT is due, we'll send you an email to just let you know that your MOT is due in the next month and please book in, click here. 2 weeks before, if you haven't booked in, we'll then just send you a gentle text message just to say, just a reminder, still need to book for your MOT. And then a week before, if they haven't booked and there's a risk that they'll be driving without an MOT, we'll put a phone call in and just make sure that they've know that the MOT is due, they're not driving without an MOT and that's a genuine reason, or to book them in as well. So that makes a huge difference to our number of transactions. But in this example, we're just going to increase it by 10%. So we're going to 2.2%. 2.2 on average, 2.2 visits per year. That takes our revenue from 200,000 to something quite different here. It actually takes our revenue to 292,860. That is quite a big difference. That's a 46% increase in your revenue by just making these small 10% incremental changes. So really, really powerful. This breaking things down to get the bigger results makes a big, big difference. And then we're going to improve your profit margin by 10%, so the same as conversion rate. We're going to take that to 27.5%. And then we have a big, big difference on your profit. That takes your profit, again, goes from £50,000 to £80,000 to £80,000 a year. That's quite a difference overall in a year. Just these small incremental changes, that profit has gone up by 61%. If we do that over the course of a year, that's a 61% increase in your profits. So just take a moment here and think about what you would do with that kind of increase in your profits. If you're not quite sure what your profit is, but you know what your revenue is, then you're looking at just under half again. So think about your revenue and all think about your profit, depending on the numbers you've got to hand. It's a huge, huge difference. And then if year 2, we do this again and we increase these numbers by 10%, we increase this by 129%. That's a huge difference. And there's just these small incremental changes, all sorts of different things we can do here. So when we start working together, we start working on the profit margins. This is the easiest one to work on because we're looking at reviewing our costs and we're looking at the scary thing, the price increase. It does make a big difference, but we can work on this with some really, really simple internal strategies. So after profit, we then start to look at conversion rate. This makes sure that all the money that we're spending on lead generation, we're maximising. So we're turning this from a cost into an investment and making sure that everything that goes on lead generation, we're making the most of every single lead, every single valuable lead that comes into the business. So conversion rate, some really simple strategies here. I can work with your sales team and get some great results here. Once we've increased the conversion rate, then we start to look at the average transaction, how much somebody's spending with you each time. Once we've got that boosted, and we're making sure that everybody knows about everything, all the different products that you sell, and they also know about the whole product range. So talking to your customers about the most expensive products in your product range, for example, all the way through down to the budget items. Don't set the customer's budget for them. They know how much they're prepared to spend. When you talk about the features and benefits of your products, they'll decide what's important to them, what they do want, what they don't want. So don't insult them by assuming they can't afford something. Give them the full information and they'll make the decision. So on the average transaction, and then we look at how often we can get them back a year, sending out newsletters, keeping in regular communication with people, making sure that they remember you're there, remember the great service that they had last time, and they remember what they bought, what they loved about you, and they come back again. And then finally, we look at lead generation. As I said, this is the area that tends to cost the most money. So once we've started to work on these, we've started to bring a lot more profit into the business, then we can just start making sure that we can turn this into investment. So firstly, we'll work out what does and what doesn't work. We'll drop what doesn't work so that we're not spending money there that's not needed. And then we'll start putting more money into the areas that do work. And that gets you to a point where you're virtually buying customers. If you know this lead generation brings you this many leads, then you know how much you need to spend here to get this many leads. So you can almost start buying customers when you get things down to that numerical basis. Really, really exciting. So that's leads that we work on last. So we'll get you all these different improvements, 46% increase on your revenue and a 61% increase in your profit. We're really interested to hear your thoughts on what you've learned today. Areas that you are working on, areas that you hadn't thought of before, things that you're going to start looking at, changes that you're going to integrate and make into your business. Please do leave some comments in the comments box below or get in touch. Thank you.